Welcome to Fireteam Chat, IGN's Destiny show. Thank you so much for joining us. Joining me today is Stephen Rue.
What's up?
Brian Malkowitz.
Hello.
And I'm your host, Destin Legary. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the Revelry. We're going to be talking about what happened with Arc Week. It's all fixed now, but some stuff went down. We're going to be talking about things done well in other games that we think Destiny could learn from. And we'll talk just briefly about the comic book that was revealed this week. So it might be a little bit of a shorter episode. There's not a ton going on this week. Are you guys played today?
Yeah.
Steven, you did the Xur bounty.
I did.
I want to talk about not what happened at the bounty, but the bounty construction itself, because I'm very frustrated
Are you talking
with
about
the
the hive?
fact that it requires hive on Mercury. What are you doing?
I mean, there's a mission. There's
one mission,
Which is fine.
And you know what? You know what's happening? Everybody's just queuing in the tree of probabilities over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So you get in there and you're at the end of it, or you're in the middle of it, and you don't get any hive. Come on.
Yeah, thankfully I got all 9 in one mission.
Yeah.
But you only got
How'd
7,
you get all
right?
9 in one mission?
I got
What-
7, so my only
The adventure.
recourse is
I know,
to
but
run
which
tree of
adventure
probabilities.
had all 3 of them?
No, all 9 hive.
Oh, all 9 hive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got all 9 hive in the bug in the system. I think is the name of the mission.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I got all mine.
Destin got
So
7.
I got 7.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, so it's annoying. So I need 2, literally 2 drops.
You could
and
just
I have to keep going to tree of probabilities and probably get hive. Maybe
see
one
what
of
you
the
did
time.
there.
Come on, this is just such a stupid thing. It was never tied to a system before. You tie it to the smallest planet with the fewest amount of enemies located on it. Don't do that. We'll talk about the quest reward later in the show, but let's actually get into the news. I was just doing it before the show. I had to get it off my chest right away. Please don't do that again, Bungie. Anyway, now that my crying is out of the way, as the commenters will say, let's talk about the Revelry. The Revelry is on the way next week. We're going to have a new fusion primary. It's going to be an exotic. It is called
linear fusion.
Arbalist.
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 And it's a
Yeah,
linear
you're
fusion,
correct.
not just regular fusion.
Yes. Sounds good to me. Are you excited about that?
For the Revelry or for the fusion rifle?
Well, so they're redoing the same thing that they did in Halloween. It's all flowery now.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're going to be largely doing the same thing. You can get armor sets. You can get ornaments for the armor sets that are larger based on how many pieces of gear you have equipped or how much inaugural Revelry or vernal growth armor you have equipped. And yeah, I think the exotic fusion is cool. It begins April 16th, which is next week, and ends on May 7th. So
And it's
you have
available
plenty of
for
time
all
to customize.
players, which is nice.
Yeah, not just for
So is Arc
Arc
Week,
Is it?
which we'll talk about soon.
Is
Arc Week, available for all players. Patch notes the update.
Patch notes the other.
Patch notes the event.
Patch notes the event. I'm really salty about Destiny this week.
Yeah, I can tell.
Arc Week is really boring, and then you come out with the Xur thing. No cutscene again this week, and you tie it to an enemy faction that is literally in one adventure and then randomly generates. It's just an annoyance. Definitely not going to run it on all 3 characters. Don't tie it to a planet. That's silly.
Haven't done any of the bounties on my other characters, so.
But you can one
Xur
nice thing
bounties,
that they
yeah.
did is you can just get them all. So
Can you?
yeah,
So
I'm
on
pretty
your-
sure.
Oh, okay. I didn't
I'm
know
pretty
that.
sure you can just get them all at once, right?
So you don't have to
No,
wait week to week.
isn't there a bug? If you don't finish it, you can't get the second week?
Oh, that sucks.
I don't remember how it works. But anyway, that's the thing. You can catch up eventually.
yeah.
I'm just doing it on my Titan. Revelry, lightly excited. Here's some of the stuff that I wrote down. You're going to generate more orbs. They reworked the Haunted Forest. There's 5 bosses to defeat. Reveler's Tonic, filled with Reveler's Essence from boss kills in the forest or other activities. The 3 tonics can cool down grenade, melee, or class ability. There's a new armor set with new ornaments. Eva will have 5 weekly bounties that award armor as a powerful drop. Essence can be turned in for rewards like enhancement cores, thankfully, ornaments, world drops. They mentioned world drops. I didn't understand the context. Ornaments will grow. We talked about that. Talked about the exotic. Bright engrams doubled. Yay.
No, that just means you're getting 2.
Yeah,
You're
get
getting
more.
well. You're getting the normal
engram
that you're getting
and the
for
event engram,
Gambit
yeah.
Prime's update plus this event.
standard stuff.
Yeah.
I actually really like what they're doing with the ornaments.
Ornaments, positive, yeah.
Because I think They grow in size depending on how much of the Revelry armor you have, which is pretty cool. They've never done anything like that before. That could be foreshadowing into something they do in the future. But the ornaments look really cool. They have like deer antlers or whatever, but
Yeah, very foresty, animal inspired.
Yeah. I dig the ornamentation. I still think it looks a little like Grandma's pajamas, as I've said a few times on the show. But yeah, are you guys still for it? I don't mean to bring
I'm
the whole
for it.
show down.
Yeah, I'm the thing I'm kind of excited about, like, is not for the event itself, but for like, I know we want to go into it later about like what Destiny can learn from other games.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like a step in the direction for Destiny having a mode like the rifts in Diablo 3 or the underground in the Division 1. They don't have it too, but we can talk about that more later when you want to get to that.
No, I mean
that point of
Revelry's on the way. It's going to have armor and a fusion, and it's a rework of the Harrowing. I don't really have much more to say about it than that. Just like with Arc Week, Arc Week came out, and it's basically I joke, but it's just a patch. Nothing significant is happening. There's some arc-focused bounties at Vanguard, and I think this is largely because Bungie needs a buffer between now and Season of Opulence, which I believe Season of Opulence was developed by Vicarious Visions, correct?
I do not
no clue.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure they mentioned their swan song coming down the road, and rumor has it that we're going to get another seasonal pass, and I think all of this is them buffering so that they can double down on Destiny 3 and make Destiny 3 a better experience.
Which is fine if they're doing that and they're putting like 90% of their resources into making Destiny 3 a game that we all want at launch, then that's fine.
It's fine. It makes this show hard to do.
It does. Well, didn't Fireteam Chat go on a hiatus once after like there was just a huge?
We might
content
do
lull?
it again. Like if it's this light, even CJ's like, nothing's. What are we going to talk about this week? CJ's actually out with his family this week. Met his dad.
That's why I'm actually kind of surprised that the Revelry is as soon as it is, because what are we getting between the Revelry and
Season of Opulence?
I know that it's June, so this
Like
this
nothing,
event
dude.
ends like early May, so that we have like a month of pretty much nothing going on in Destiny.
When is Guardian Con?
Is
that in June?
It's July, I think.
Is it in July?
I think it's July.
Yeah.
Well,
And they teased the big reveal.
They tease that they're gonna they tease they're gonna reveal something.
It'll
at
probably
Guardian
be whatever the September content drop is. I doubt it'll be 3.
Yeah.
Con. Yeah,
Destiny 3. I doubt it's going to be that.
We'll see. Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be
Since
pretty light.
they're on their own now, they're not tied to like a specific time to release a game, so they can take
Yeah.
as much time as they want.
Arc Week was briefly terrible. Xur was rewarding the PlayStation exclusives, so they locked down all the Pinnacle weapons, or they locked that down. You did not get it.
I did not get the PS exclusive. What's it called? Wave Splitter. Yeah.
Yeah, but even if you did, they've disabled it.
Yeah, they disabled it, so
can't-
you still
you
have
keep
it.
it,
but-
and then once it's available on other platforms,
Yeah.
then you can use it.
I did not do the Pinnacle weapon glitch.
Yeah, they shut down Pinnacle weapons because apparently you could repeatedly acquire them and get enhancement cores. Hey, here's an idea. Instead of disabling Pinnacle weapons, disable enhancement core requirements. How about that?
I saw
Problem solved.
I think I saw someone with 15 stacks of 999 enhancement cores.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If I had known about the glitch, which I didn't, I probably would have exploited it too. Just
when I found out it was already patched.
yeah.
Damn.
Destiny 2 is going to cycle out of rotation. Destiny 3 is going to come here, and we're still going to have enhancement cores. It is going to be the special ammo of Destiny 2. This will be the legacy of Destiny 2. Remember when
flashbacks.
special ammo boxes popped up in Destiny 1? It's just dumb, and I hope it goes away forever. Man, I am super salty this week. I hope you didn't come in for a cheery show because I'm just.
I feel like you're
I'm
salty
really-
most weeks in Fireteam Chat.
Yeah, probably. I'm really frustrated this week. It's like the enhancement core thing isn't being addressed. They're sticking with it. So great. We're going to have enhancement cores for the continuation of the life cycle of Destiny. There's still old armor sets that they're probably going to bring back in Season of Opulence. We already saw the old raid sets sort of teased.
Yeah.
It's just like they do cool things and then they take them away, and then they do a cool thing, then they take it away. And it's a frustrating loop to be stuck in. So let's talk about things that they could learn from other games that maybe they're sort of utilizing now but could utilize better. And Brian, you had some interesting ones that I hadn't thought of. What do you have right now?
So what it is, it goes back to when Curse of Osiris was being like the content of Curse of Osiris was being leaked.
Yeah.
And the contents of the Infinite Forest was supposed to be like a randomly generated
Yeah.
game mode, and it turned out to not be that at all.
Yeah.
So I always wanted, from that moment, I always wanted Destiny to have some sort of Greater Rift or Nephilim Rift system that Diablo 3 has, where it's just this infinitely like grindable mode that is just loot runs. In the division added something like that in an underground update. Later on, like a few months after the release of the game, which was awesome because it's kind of just like a mindless loot run, and it's just randomly generated areas, and then you just go for loot.
That's really cool.
You know, that's something I kind of want.
I feel like Destiny could definitely do something like that.
Yeah.
Like they sort of have it with the forges. It's not infinite.
Yeah, no,
But
it is.
you
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
Actually, yeah, it is infinite
It's
in a
infinite
way.
in a certain way. But what I mean by like with the way that the Division and Diablo handled it, it was you weren't chasing anything specific.
You're just
going
rolls.
there, and you're just whatever loot you get is what you get, and then you use those to just like build cool sets and things like that. So
The Division ability to swap perks is something that Destiny desperately needs. Imagine,
like you mean the recalibration
exactly.
system? Yeah, I mean they had something like that in D1, right? I mean you didn't burn a piece of gear to add
your
it.
motes.
You burned your motes and other materials to randomly generate, which I think it might be a better system.
roll them.
Maybe, I don't know.
You mean for
Hey.
exotics, right?
No,
you
they had a
could do it with your
recalibration
Iron
system
Banner.
they had a recalibration system where you could take your motes of light and I think other materials
And
you could just
reroll legendaries?
reroll. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I would sit at
Wow.
the thing and
How do I not remember this?
God, what was like not Felwinter's Light.
I wanted Timur's Lash. I think it was the.
Oh,
hand
you mean
cannon.
for Iron Banner?
Yep.
it wasn't just Iron Banner guns that would that you
I
could
remember
reroll, right?
Iron Banner.
You could reroll anything, wasn't it?
Pretty sure it was just Iron Banner, but it was awesome. And then they got rid of it.
I feel like I
so it's
remember
another
this.
example of adding something cool and then taking it away. We have nothing to use gunsmith materials on except for the scrapper bounties, which are somewhere. And yeah,
They're coming.
which anyway, I really, really think that having a perk type system, the way the Division 2 perk system works, for example, is like you have a talent, you have like some other perks on each piece of weapon and armor, right? And what you can do is you can say, all right, well, I got a duplicate of this thing, but in Destiny, the way it would work is like instead of having primary ammo finder, I want to swap that out for special ammo finder. And there is a finite number of things in the Division that you can swap out to. But basically, you can, for an expensive fee, craft gear the way that you want precisely.
Yeah. But it works the same way I think it does in Diablo in the Division, that when you can't recalibrate multiple perks,
Slots.
right? So like if you take one perk and you recalibrate it and you consume the piece of armor that it has on there, then you can't re-roll another perk on that piece of armor.
I believe you're correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like
It works the same
that's
way,
the
like,
slot you can re-roll, and it costs more every time you do it.
Right.
And yeah, it's an expensive thing to do, but that's how you get to gear score 515. I believe 515 is the cap right now.
Is it?
I'm
I
like
thought it was 500.
I'm like 504.
Oh, well, I guess I'm on that. I haven't gotten
yeah.
to the over the cap yet, so I don't know.
But they got a raid coming on the 25th. You know what? That's actually a great topic. Let's talk about how much. Well, sorry, Steven, go ahead. Did you have any ideas from other games that Destiny could have done well?
No, actually I don't.
Yeah.
Just transmog, but there's like so many variants that you could do. Like you could do
Transmog's
the
always like-
recalibration thing. You could do the whole take all the perks of this armor, but just make it look like a different set of armor. There's like, I don't know. There's so many different ways they can go about it, and I'm sure they're working on it behind the scenes. Like
For Destiny 3.
yeah, like they know we don't like
Big changes aren't coming to Destiny 2 anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, like
I think Destiny 2 is largely locked. We'll get like Season of Opulence. They'll have interesting events for us. I hope.
Well, there's that rumor of the next season or annual pass.
yeah.
Being more
But
substantial.
What I mean by big changes,
This
I mean
has
big
been a
quality
problem
wise
since
things.
day one of Destiny 1. Like, oh, I like the way I look, but these perks don't do anything. Or, well, back in Destiny 1, it was like, I have way too much discipline now, but I love the way I look. Or I have too much intellect. I have to use this other set of armor to look the way I want, but to still have the, what was it, tier 12?
Oh yeah, tier 12.
Yeah, tier 12. 5.5 tier.
intellect, discipline,
Yeah,
and the other one.
It's always been a problem, and I'm sure they know about it. But that's my 2 cents on the whole
Yeah,
situation.
because my Titan looks, my Warlock is fairly okay right now, but my Titan looks just awful.
Yeah.
Because I'm at that point where I'm like, because I
You're
got
at
my
the
Warlock to
piece.
700, but my Titan is still grinding up, so I just Just all bad. And I don't want to
on.
burn shaders or anything. They're trying to make them look
Shaders.
somewhat uniform.
Yeah.
So another game, believe it or not, Anthem, I think Bungie could learn from
Bold.
a little bit.
Bold.
With one system in Anthem that is really, really interesting, the combo system. Being able to prime somebody with electricity and then detonate into a fiery explosion.
Sure.
Now, Bungie actually has a few weapons that tried to lean into this, Mida and Mida Mini. They have
Sturm and Drang.
Sturm and Drang, which are actually kind of cool. And unfortunately, I don't think they really went into it. A lot of DPS dealing, like the Warlock, you'll punch enemies for the damage buff, and then Titans will
Melting
shoulder
Point.
charge with Melting
Yeah.
Point. So they have it, but there's no combo type system. And I think that would be really, really interesting to have some sort of electrical effect applied to bigger enemies that could then somehow be detonated or exploded. I think that was one cool thing that Anthem actually did well.
Yeah.
That I would love to see Destiny utilize more, because it looks like they had hints of it.
Yeah, there's definitely like little variants of it, but I this always goes back to the whole PvP and PvE thing. I wonder if it's they're incapable of doing that because of those two. Like Anthem's just strictly PvE, right? So you don't have to worry about like priming all 4 people on the other team with electricity, and then you throw one nade and they're all dead. Like
Division has versions of it that are light.
yeah,
So if Division can do it and they have PvP,
yeah.
I'm sure
But-
Destiny could
but
figure it out. Oh, you know what?
Division
You know what else
PvP
Division is doing? They're doing a PTR.
Remember Crucible Labs?
Yeah, I sure do.
I don't know. The PvP in
I
those
feel like
two
I'm
games
in
are
the
so
PTR when
different.
yeah.
I don't know. It would definitely be a cool facet of the game, but I just feel like it's so hard to balance PvP and PvE in that sense.
Yeah, for sure. Final thing. So this is actually a topic that, believe it or not, Fran was texting me about. We just kind of started talking about
Francis Michael Mirabella III.
So
Back from the
this
grave.
segment, just you reminded me when you said something about the raid, or we were talking about season opulence. But Division 2 has a very large gap in between when the raid launches and when the content launched, right?
I see where you're going with this.
I know I basically super casualed my way into the end game of Division 2, and I'm there now, and I'm like, ooh, this does a lot of interesting stuff. I'm having a good time. All right, I get it. Destiny 2 does a little differently. They have this power climb and a very short window to get there to be able to compete for worlds first in the raid.
Yep.
So my question is, would you rather have a month and a half in Destiny to prepare for the raid? And I think there's a lot of listeners that would enjoy that. Or would you like a much shorter window?
Ooh.
You can only have one or the other, and we'll talk about the middle later. Like, of course, the answer is probably somewhere in between, some shade of gray, so to speak, right? But I want to get your take on this topic at hand. So, Brian, we'll start with you. Which one would you prefer? Shorter window or longer window where you're perfecting your build before you go into the encounter?
So a shorter window doesn't bother me. One, because I think the race to finish the raid first was a community created necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's less on Bungie. Like they released the raid, in Destiny 1, they released Vault of Glass, 2 weeks? I think it was 2 weeks, right?
Vault of Glass, I believe, was 2 weeks after.
2 weeks after it launched. And most of the time now it's been 3 days. But I think that's because the community has kind of pushed back on that and said, hey, we want this, we want a race. We want to figure this out first. We want to be the first one to do it. And so for me, I don't mind. If the raid is launched, because I don't really care about being the first one in there and figuring it out. If the raid is available 2 days after the game launches, so
2 days?
Yeah, no, but I'm saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if if the raid is there. Who
You're
cares?
saying just put it there day one.
If it's there, okay, I don't have to go do it that day. I don't need to race to get to the cap so I can go do the raid because it's available on the directory. That doesn't change how I want to play the game.
That's interesting. Yeah, because having the windowed application of having it a week out,
It gives
sets
people
a deadline.
It sets a deadline and it gives people a sense of urgency because they know something is coming.
But if it's just there, then you're just
If it's there, yeah. So either way, I wouldn't care because I'm not playing I'm playing Destiny to get to the raid, to get to the end game content, do that. But I want to do that on my own time and I want to enjoy the ride there. So if it's a month out, that's fine because I'm still going to do all of this stuff in the meantime. If it's there day one, it's fine. It can sit there until I'm ready for it.
Definitely.
So that's my take on it. I don't care either way.
Steven, what's your thought? Because
This
you've
is a
done the raid
very-
race.
It's a very interesting.
I'm very interested to hear your perspective.
So, the question you asked was either have a shorter period of window, which is usually 3 days, right? Or
Well, no, it's like a week.
is it
For
a
the
week?
raid, like the new content launches,
I feel like Forsaken
you get
didn't,
one
didn't
reset.
Last Wish come out like?
No, so it's like you get one reset, then a few days. Last Wish was not 3 days later. If only you had
Oh,
a
and it was the
phone or
raid
a laptop.
layers. It was the raid layer. It was the raid,
raid
layers, wasn't
layers
it?
were
I
a
think
few
the
days
raid layers were. Like
we got like
2
a
days
we got like a weekish for Last Wish, correct?
after. I think so.
We got one reset because I remember all the things were
That's
messed up.
right. Because
We got one reset, yeah. So we got like
week and then
9
reset.
days, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So that I don't have an issue with.
A lot of people had issue with that sort of windowing with Last Wish, though.
Yeah.
I
Being too
couldn't
long or
get
too
ready. It was too short.
Yes, and okay,
we had
so-
the whole debate episode
So here's the thing.
that I still get emails about.
Here's
You were
the-
mean to Andrea.
Here's the thing. Division 2's raid's coming out what, a month after?
More
It's
than that,
the
right?
25th, so Division launched in February.
So we're nearing.
It's
It'll
like
be
a
near
month or
May
so.
before.
Okay, so let's just say a month and a half or
Yeah.
ish. If you gave Destiny players, the players that actually did care about the raid and completing it day one, if you gave those kind of Destiny players a month and a half, everyone will be max light by then. If they were diligent and they played every day for like 3 hours and made sure they did all their milestones, etc., etc. Everyone will be max light, and then the argument there is everyone's on an even playing field. You don't have to worry about DPS scaling because you're light, and it's like a more balanced race to the first, right? I understand that argument. But at the same time, when you have a raid that comes out that the same week of or just a week after a DLC comes out, I feel like in a sense you're still riding that hype wave and it feels more exciting that way. And this is going to sound elitist, but to those people, and some people just don't have the time to grind for a week and no life the game. But the people who do no life the game, they're not getting in the top 5 of every raid race consistently because they had time to no life the game. They're just amazing players. If you watch Glad and Gigs and Ninja and some of those players play, they do insane things. Their mind works in a way where like 99% of Destiny players, their mind does not work that way. They're efficient in DPS shots. They never miss their black spindle shots or
I miss them quite
whisper
often.
shots. Like they're super efficient. You never have to tell. Like you watch them play, they say like minimal things, and everyone knows exactly where they're supposed to be. They're just on a different skill ceiling. But because, and I feel like this is a culture thing, when you see something that you can't do and you point to a different scapegoat, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that guy's only good at basketball because he's 6'5". Well, not only that. Not
There's
only
no way it could be because you didn't practice for 5 years.
there's
or
no
any of
way.
those
Like,
other
sure,
things.
he's 6'5", but there's no way that him waking up at 5 a.m. every day and practicing, putting
in the work.
Exactly. Those players are on a different level, and even if you had a month to prepare and you guys were on the same level, those guys are still going to beat you. And I like the world's first race. If it was available day one and you could just enter no matter what, and there wasn't like a starting point, you lose that world's first race. And I think that's a very big part of the Destiny community. So I'm all for the whole 1 week windowing thing.
If I choose to spend time with my girlfriend, that's my problem.
Exactly. Like,
Right.
Like, you weren't in the top 10, but you
Top
were
100.
you were in the top 5 of getting to Riven, right?
Oh yeah, we were in
Yeah.
the top 5, 10 to get to Riven.
Exactly. And that's exciting, right?
Yeah, it's really cool to be there for those.
Yeah,
moments.
that's a
Like-
really cool moment, and I don't think Bungie
Rest
should
in
ever
peace,
get
Dado,
rid of that.
2402.
like when they solved the puzzle in the raid in D1.
Yeah.
I was there in that moment, and that was really cool. To
Yeah,
be-
like here's the thing,
to be
like,
part of those things.
Dado didn't get the first 24 hours. He got 2402. But it's like you see his videos. He puts in so much time and effort, and the way he thinks is on a different level than most Destiny players. The players who are complaining about it, like, oh, I don't have enough time to grind because I have a work job, blah blah blah. Let's be honest. You probably are not on that level, regardless. You know. So
What would Sean say?
Sean would be. I think
You would
Sean
say
was on the
get
get good side. Yeah.
You would say
She'd be on the get good,
Yeah.
good side, yeah. For
You
sure.
either
And that
you either have it or
phrasing-
you don't. You know.
that phrasing "get good" is about, hey, are you going to put in the time? Do you have the wherewithal to put in the time necessary to be able to compete. No, that's okay.
Yeah.
You can just do it at your own leisure. But there are people out there that are willing to do that or have the luxury to be able to do that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either.
Yeah, no, I don't agree. And especially with Last Wish.
What was the light level require or
So if
What
I
was the light
if I recall correctly,
start at like 650, right?
For
And it's
for
scale out
Last
to
Wish?
550.
It was
Sorry.
like- I think it was wasn't it 570?
It was
Get
okay.
in?
So it was recommended 5. It was recommended 580, I think.
Yeah, because
I
like,
might be wrong.
I think because the last encounters were 590.
Well, we went in the 520s to 40s, I think.
Yeah, and you're like,
no, I remember your
red
team was
sword
around
or-
540 to 550. But here's the thing:
Not
that
Teddy. Teddy was in the 30s. Some of the guys
Teddy
weren't-
might have been lower, but
some of the guys were lower.
which
some
is
of
weird
us
to me
were in
because
the
Teddy is
40s.
always like.
he only has
on
one
there.
character.
He only has one
one
character.
character. But here's the thing: that raid,
Not
the
anymore.
thing I really liked about the Last Wish, it didn't feel more of a DPS thing. Sure, like if you were higher, you could survive another sniper shot, or you could do more DPS. But that raid felt like even if you were at like 540 to 550 at the end, as long as you perfected and executed flawlessly, you could have still done it. And that's why I loved Last Wish.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole debate the internet's having about Sekiro. Like, yes, it's a hard game, but as long as you understand the combos and the counters and all that, you can perfect it and do it. Right?
That debate morphed into something absolutely different than what
You've
the
learned
comment I think
nothing.
is
Yes.
absolutely
And
about.
here's another thing going back to the skill level of players like Glad and Dado and stuff like that. If you handicapped them and made them 540 for that last encounter, they could still do it,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Whereas players who couldn't do it at 540, they would point to that as the reason that they couldn't do it. But those players, they could still do it at 540.
So here's my take, and I think my answer might surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
Give everybody a month and a half. Sure. Take the longer window.
Do you want everyone
I
to have a
do.
month and
But
a
you know what? I want the raid to be as difficult at 700, for example,
half? You
as
just
it
want
was
the
for
raid-
me
You want the raid more difficult.
at 540. I want a level of precision to be required for the raid because now what's your excuse?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't have the time. All right.
You had a
that
month and a
had-
half.
That's taken away. You no longer have that excuse. You had
Mm-hmm.
a month and a half to get ready for this. Now go in and have that level of difficulty available to all players and let everybody compete. Sure. Guess what? People aren't going to finish it, and there will be another scapegoat. Oh, I'm not tall enough.
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
think?
here's
Do you
the thing.
think there's a risk of player drop off by?
Well, that's
by
the other
allowing
thing.
that?
That's the other thing.
Yep.
When you have a big DLC come out in Destiny, and if you don't have a raid, and people know that a raid is attached to that DLC, they're expecting that raid within a week or two.
Right.
If you wait until a month, I feel like the hype level for that raid would die down substantially.
That's honestly, because to be honest with you, that's how I'm feeling about
Yeah.
Division.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten to World Tier 5 in the Division 2, and I haven't gotten to max level, and I'm assuming that the raid is going to be up there, around 500.
Yeah.
And like
You're not 500 yet?
I'm not 500 yet.
I mean, you could hop in with me now, and I can just dump gear to you.
Yeah, you could,
And, yeah.
for sure. But the problem is I started out here with
Yeah.
the Division, and now I'm just tapering off in my level of care.
That's the thing. So
and if
like,
the raid was available,
Destiny does this really special thing when they do come out with big DLCs like Forsaken and Taken King. There's like that rush to grind and hit that raid. The problem with Destiny is what happens after that. That's where people
That's
start
where people
to drop
start.
off.
Well, people start to complain about the lack of content
Lack
because
of
everybody's
content,
burned
repetitive.
through it
But
in the
that-
first week.
that-
It's
Wow.
a large reason why
Yeah.
I'm so frustrated about the Revelry and Arc
exactly.
Week. And it's just kind of like, I want to celebrate Destiny,
Yeah.
and these aren't giving me compelling reasons to
Yeah.
celebrate Destiny.
But that
And that's
first week or
frustrating.
two is so special. That's one of my favorite moments, like time windows of Destiny.
Yeah.
But you do come up with a good point. If you gave everyone the time to get to max light and everyone was on the same light level for a raid, that raid has to be difficult,
Yep.
right? Like,
Yeah.
like here's the thing: people can do Last Wish in like 15 minutes now because you don't have to worry about dying, or you can just mow through light level. But in my opinion, the best raids in Destiny are the ones where you don't really focus on DPS. Like, you do have to do efficient DPS, but they're more about executing.
Yep.
For instance, Crota, people couldn't do it unless you hit 31, I believe, right? Like, you had to have someone one above. Because I remember
What do you mean?
Like light level 31. Light level 31.
The person with the sword had to be light level 31.
Right.
Because you
everyone,
couldn't DPS.
I don't think because the maximum when Crota came out was 32, right?
it was 32, but
I feel like if someone's 31, that's
the majority of people went in on 30. I remember the world's first team had a team of 6 and a person who was on standby.
Yeah.
The person on standby, instead of doing the
grinding.
raid, was grinding, got to 31, and they switched him out. And he was a sword bearer, and that's how they did it. I remember reading that interview.
It was like 21 or whatever. It was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one light level up.
Yeah, that one light level up made that much of a difference in DPS. Those raids, they're not. I don't think that's good raid design. What's good raid design is like Riven. Like you gotta do enough DPS to do it in 4 phases, but you also have to worry about the eyes. You have to worry about
unless you got cluster bombs.
yeah cluster.
Yeah. Well, that was later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
like those. When you have to do optimal DPS and mechanics, those are my favorite raids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys remember when Destiny used to drop content and they would only raise the light by 2?
Destiny's gone through a lot of different
Oh my
iterations. A lot of different iterations of leveling.
I think they have some fine tuning. You know what? I came in super salty, but talking about the raid again, man, just reminded me about why I love Destiny.
Yeah.
As many bad things and frustrating things of Destiny there are so many things like that secret sauce that Destiny always has that no other game has even come close to.
That reminded me of what you just said like earlier when you were saying like the first 2 weeks of a content drop in Destiny are like
It's my favorite part of any video game.
Because I remember like when Forsaken dropped, like you were like in awe in a lot of times.
It's my
So I would sit back and watch it and you're just like, dude, the Dreaming City is amazing.
Yeah, it's my
Freaking
favorite
cool.
part of
That
any
was
video
my
game.
mouse and keyboard invitation. Anyways, so that's that feeling right there is what worries me about the fact that we're probably not getting a big content drop in September and we're getting a new season pass.
Yeah.
Because when a season pass content drops, it's not like this cool new thing that we're doing. It's just here's this new activity that you're probably going to be doing, but we don't get this big content drop where we have like this week and a half of just like innocence and where everything is new and we're like, what is going on?
Yeah.
What are we working towards right now?
Yeah.
So you get none of that with Black Armory, with Gambit Prime.
I think my 3 favorite, like, I guess the word is feelings of Destiny that it's ever given me is the first time I saw someone wear an exotic that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
Because there were no data miners then. And
let's go back to that
that
day.
was amazing. And then the first time I went into Vault thinking this is just a long strike. And then once I realized what was happening, I was like, dude, this is the coolest thing I've ever done. And the Dreaming City. The Dreaming City is honestly one of the coolest things I think Bungie's ever done.
The way it opens up.
The way it opens up, but like,
not just that, but just the curse cycle.
but it's the whole curse cycle.
the
It's this,
secrets in there.
it's a whole another destination that could serve as its own like little DLC, and you can only get there after you beat everything else. It's kind of like what Division does with the what's it called, Black Husks or whatever.
Black Tusk.
Like
yes,
the
yes,
end game
Black Husks.
drastically changes, and it's a big size of content, right?
Yeah.
Once you get to that end game.
Well, it's 6 hours if you just line it,
Yeah, that's
basically
pretty impressive.
Basically, what happens in Division is you have your world, you clear out all the main bad guys, but then the big bads show up, and they're like, "We're taking it all back over.
Yeah.
You got to kill us now." And they have interesting new archetypes that you have to fight
Yeah,
against,
I
like
think
robot
that's
dog.
I think that's
gadgets and
I think that's a
drones.
really cool way to do an end game.
Yeah, for sure.
And then as you clear out each section, that's how you get to world
Yeah,
tier
that's
1, 2, 3,
that's
4.
how I felt. That right there is how I felt when the Taken King dropped and
Your water's been terrifying me the whole show.
when the Taken King dropped and like the Taken just invade the solar system.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. They did that same feeling like when the Blast Tusk comes in. It's like they just take over everything and everything changes.
And so I guess to harp on your earlier topic about what could Destiny do that other games do, when the beta first came out of Destiny 1, do you remember we could patrol EDZ and there were the patrol missions that you could do? Like go scan this, clear things out. And then every time you finished it, it would like there would be dialogue like, oh, okay, sending these back to the tower, sending this back to Icor. This is really going to help us out. When I first played the beta and I heard that, I would always go back to the tower and be like, okay, where's all the crap that I did? Like, and I would always be like, and then after a couple hours,
they lied to me.
Yeah, after a couple hours in, I'd be like, oh, I'm just getting XP points. This isn't actually helping the tower. But in Division, it actually drastically affects and opens up parts of your home base, and you can see like supply envoys on the map.
Also, you're
and all
talking
that
about
too,
like
right?
the tower having some sort of base building mechanic.
Yeah, in Destiny 3, I would love for whatever you do in the open world to actually affect your home base.
Yeah.
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. Like you get somebody's like, hey, here's a bunch of glimmer.
Yeah, like there's a bunch of side missions, and like you do a bunch of side missions.
Here's
for,
some
like,
enhancement cores for all your help.
Basically, what we've always wanted. We want Destiny to like go full RPG.
If you're supposed to be the guardian,
Thanks
of
for
the last,
helping out. You can spend your your gun materials to buy bounties and go do more stuff.
If you're supposed to be the guardian of the last city on Earth, and you go out into the universe and kill baddies or do things for missions, I want that to be reflected on the last city Earth.
For sure. So there was a comic release this week. It was sort of stealth released. It's just a story of Cade, basically.
I don't know anything.
There's some
about
stuff
that.
in there.
I haven't heard about
Basically, somebody on Twitter did tweet at me. Thank you very much. And they said there was a Siva-based character there who was an outcast. So it was sort of interesting to see Siva reintroduced. Remember Siva?
Yeah.
How it was there, and now it's not mentioned ever again.
Well,
There's some.
I think that's the reason why we're not allowed in the EDZ, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's quarantined.
I would
Not
love it
EDC.
No, sorry, the Cosmodrome.
Cosmodrome.
Yeah,
I would love it
quarantined.
if they explored that, except for in that one mission where we are allowed in the EDZ. In the
Oh yeah,
Lord.
but there's a story behind that. Like Amanda Holiday, I think, is like breaks the quarantine and like sneaks you in there or something.
Yeah. Bro, I killed them all. The Destiny will kill them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What do you
then
mean I can't
Steven,
remember?
the Zer bounty.
The Zer bounty.
What happened this week?
Okay, so there's a cutscene. So here's
There's not a cutscene.
Oh, not a cutscene. It's a standard. You go, you do the quest, and then you go and listen.
You listen
to
to
them.
somebody talk.
Dude, it's tough understanding what they're saying.
Yep.
Is that just me?
No, they had the audio separated left
Like
and right.
the-
Steven and I were trying to listen at the same time.
Like the 9.
And then I'm
Turn
all
subtitles
salty.
on.
It's tough.
I'm all salt. Well, he was doing capture.
Yeah.
All right, fair.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, when you capture video for the internet consumption, you're not supposed to have subtitles on.
It's
'cause
a
it looks
sin.
cleaner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to like listen to it a bunch of times over and over again, and I might be wrong, but it's weird because so my character's a female, and they were talking about, they kept saying she and her, and I couldn't tell if they were talking about the queen or they were talking about me. But it's really interesting because I think the 9 they ask what does she want. So initially I was like, oh, they're talking about the queen again, but then the emissary says power, and right when she says power, you get the loot drop.
Yeah.
So I was like,
It's like the
wait,
first thing she
is
says.
she
What
talking-
does she want?
Yeah,
Power.
so I
and
was
then the
like,
loot drops.
are they talking about me as the guardian? And then the 9 says like, I don't understand, blah, blah, blah. And then the emissary keeps saying like, she's the most powerful being like that you can't understand. And then she says something cheeky. She says, she's so powerful, she could leave the game altogether. And I was like, does that like literally mean like, is that breaking the third wall? Like turn off the game? Is that what they're talking about?
You
Go
leave the game now,
outside,
dude.
everybody. Go outside. Do something
It's
fun
Bungie
this
hinting,
weekend.
like,
Yeah.
please go do something else while we make Destiny 3, please.
And then the 9 keeps saying, I don't understand. So I was just like, so it's either I missed something about the queen or they're like talking about me as the guardian or us as the guardian. And when they said like she could literally leave the game if she wanted to, I was like, oh, I could leave the game if I wanted to.
Like, oh yeah, you're right.
What if it's all just a game?
It's a simulation.
You're
None of it's
actually in a
real.
simulation.
Yeah,
You're
but-
actually in a tree of probabilities where Hive actually spawned.
We never left the
but-
forest.
And I do think they were talking about us because on the Zer bounty itself, it's the text is like, and you or something like that in caps.
Yeah.
They're talking about you as in us. So
Maybe the
that was
cutscene
that
is
was interesting.
your life.
Dude, where are the cutscenes? I want a cutscene.
Yeah, I thought.
what
this
are we?
week for
Are we
sure.
week 5 in?
We are
They said there's more cutscenes.
1, 2. I think we're 5.
That should be the 5th one, right?
Yeah,
So if that's the
yeah.
5th one, I have a feeling that
This is
the last one is the only other
Will be
one with a
the other
cutscene,
one.
or
Well,
maybe the one before the last.
The
one.
last one's like a half an hour long cutscene. Then
I'm
okay.
all for it.
I wouldn't
Let's
expect
go.
much for
Yeah.
it, considering the nature of
Yeah,
this.
I think
What if
you'll
it's
find
like,
something.
all right. Good job, Guardian. Cutscene ends,
It's just reused cutscene of him just
and then it's
flipping
him in
around.
the tower just standing doing the canned animations, talking to you.
And then the prince comes in and
You'll get another really salty Destin episode if that's what it is. But I think they have something special.
So a normal episode of Fireteam Chat.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think that's everything we really had to talk about this week, except for one thing.
yeah. I guess so
Oh,
this potentially might be my last episode.
Where? What?
Depending on if we film next week. So either this will be my last episode, but I do think we're going to film early next week, hopefully. So that will be my last episode, but this is just a heads up.
He's not leaving IGN.
I'm not
first
leaving
of all.
IGN, but I am leaving this side of IGN, the content side, if you will, going into a different side of IGN. but I will no longer be
Far
in San
away.
Francisco, so which makes doing FTC in San Francisco impossible.
Yeah.
So I don't think this will be the last episode. I think next week might be the last episode, but I'm sure I'll be in SF on a Friday eventually, and we could do another one. But it was a pleasure working with you guys.
Yeah, dude, you've been an amazing addition not
Yeah.
only to the content team.
Thank you. I
and
appreciate
our
it, Dustin.
team,
Yeah.
but
This-
also the show.
yeah,
it's been great.
The
having
show's
you.
actually like one of my favorite things about my job. And no, our job is not just FTC.
No, it's this
Much-
is like probably not even supposed to
1%.
really be doing this
less
anymore.
than 5%
Yeah.
of what we do.
Less
here
than
is this
5%
show.
what we do. But yeah, this dude talking about a game that we love that we've been playing for 5 years. I've literally met everyone on the show because of Destiny. I've literally am in IGN because of Destiny somehow. So that's awesome. And shout out to anyone at Bungie who watches our show. You guys created something amazing. I know it sounds like we hate this game sometimes, but this game
We
is
wouldn't have the show
literally-
if we hated it.
This game has literally changed our lives for better.
Yeah.
And I will always forever hold Destiny special to my heart. So I appreciate that.
For sure. Hopefully we can record a little early next week. We don't
Yep.
miss anything big, or maybe we'll just like do a little segment.
Yeah.
today. Just
Say
it'll just be
goodbye.
us hugging Steve.
Well, we can do early because we have the
Before I
Revelry.
leave.
Thoughts and
we'll be able to talk about the
stuff like
Revelry.
that.
Yeah,
So.
it'll be us doing HR
See-
violations such as hugging.
CJ will be right here somewhere.
Will he?
Yeah, he'll be here.
No, he'll be right there in
right
between you
here.
two. He always sits right there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for everything, Steven. And of course,
Thank you.
You're welcome back. It's just the
Thank you,
whole
I
thing with being in
appreciate
LA, but you're going to be up here again for
Yeah,
projects.
This is not
We were-
goodbye. It's a long hiatus.
Yeah,
We'll see how much you hate it up there, and then we'll see when you come back.
We'll see.
for sure. Well, that's it for this episode, everybody. Until next time,
Guardians
Guardians out.
Oh, I like what you did there.